Have you ever felt calm one moment and shattered the next? One small disappointment, and suddenly your peace breaks like glass. We chase control, perfection, approval. Yet the more we cling, the more restless we become. The mind, once your servant, becomes your master. No one can harm you more than your own untrained mind. The real question isn't how to fix life. It's how to train your mind to stay peaceful, to hold emotional balance, and discover real peace even when the world turns chaotic. This is how you master your mind, awaken true mental strength, and experience self-love so deep, nothing can shake it. 1. The battle you're fighting is inside you. Why does life often feel like an endless conflict, even when no one is attacking you? You wake up, and before the day even begins, your mind is already in motion, battling worry, chasing control, defending against imagined threats. Yet Buddhism teaches, your outer war ends when your inner resistance ends. The greatest struggle isn't out there, it's in here, within the mind that refuses to rest. Imagine your mind as a vast sky. Thoughts are like clouds, some dark, some bright, all constantly shifting. The winds of emotion push them back and forth, clashing like storms. But if you look deeper, beneath the noise of thunder and the flashing of doubt, you'll find the sky itself, untouched, unmoved, perfectly still. That is your true nature. The chaos you feel does not belong to you. It merely passes through. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you sense it? The stillness behind the storm. The quiet awareness that observes but does not fight. That is the place where peace is born. Not from controlling the clouds, but from realizing you were never the storm to begin with. The more you resist your thoughts, the stronger they become. The more you chase peace, the farther it runs. But when you stop fighting, when you simply sit with what is, a miracle happens. The storm softens. Every time you react with anger, fear, or comparison, you strengthen the illusion of conflict. You build walls where there should be space. The mind becomes a battlefield because it cannot accept imperfection. Yet Buddhism whispers, peace is not won through victory. It is discovered through surrender. When you stop resisting your emotions, they lose their grip. When you allow life to be messy, your heart remains steady, like a rock unmoved by the river's current. Ask yourself gently, what inner battles am I replaying every day? How much of my suffering is self-created resistance? What would remain if I stopped fighting my own mind? The answers will not come through logic. They will arrive through silence. So, train your mind to return to that silence. Observe, breathe, and remember, storms will always pass, but the sky remains. Peace isn't the absence of difficulty. It's the presence of awareness that stands firm amidst it. When you learn to be that awareness, nothing outside can disturb what's calm within. Because in truth, you were never meant to fight the world, only to stop fighting yourself. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "My mind is my temple." 2. The art of watching without absorbing. Can you see pain without becoming it? That is the silent art of peace. To be fully aware, yet untouched. Most people live as if every passing emotion is a wave they must swim in. Every thought a command they must obey. But the Buddha taught, awareness is the fire that burns illusion without smoke. When awareness deepens, you no longer drown in life's turbulence. You rise above it, like the lotus that blooms untainted in muddy water. Imagine yourself as that lotus. The mud is not your enemy. It is what nourishes your growth. Yet, no matter how deep the roots go, the flower never absorbs the dirt. It simply observes the world as it is: the light, the shadow, the rain, the silence. This is the art of watching without absorbing. The mind may whisper, "This feeling is mine, this pain defines me." But when you look closer, you see that every emotion is like a cloud passing through the open sky of your awareness. None of them stay. None of them belong. Visualize yourself sitting by a gentle river. Every thought, every worry, every memory floats by like leaves upon the water. Watch them come. Watch them go. Do not reach in. The moment you reach, the river pulls you under. But if you simply witness, breathing softly, resting in stillness, you discover a truth that changes everything. You are not the current. You are the shore. When you stop absorbing, you stop suffering. You stop carrying other people's storms inside your heart. You learn to hear anger without reacting, to see chaos without losing balance. It's not that life becomes quieter. It's that you become clearer. Detachment is not indifference, it's maturity. It's the strength to remain kind, even when the world is loud. Ask yourself, do I observe my emotions or drown in them? What happens when I stop chasing every thought? Can I be the witness instead of the wounded? These questions are keys to freedom. So, practice watching. Practice stillness. Let awareness be your fire, the kind that burns away illusion without leaving smoke behind. Because when you learn to witness life instead of absorbing it, no storm can stain your spirit. You become the lotus, calm amidst the mud, shining even in the dark. And that is the quiet power of a mind trained in peace. 3. Let go of the need to control everything. What if peace comes not from mastery, but from surrender? We spend so much of life trying to hold everything together, controlling outcomes, fixing people, predicting tomorrow. But the harder we grip, the more exhausted we become. Buddhism teaches a simple truth. The tighter you hold, the faster things slip away. The illusion of control is the root of our restlessness. True peace begins when you stop fighting the flow of life and begin to trust its rhythm. Imagine your mind as a hand holding water. When it's clenched tight, the water escapes through every finger, no matter how hard you try to contain it. But when the hand opens, the water rests gently in your palm. Life is just like that. It's not meant to be captured, only experienced. The more you try to dominate every moment, the more you disconnect from the beauty of simply being. Control gives the illusion of safety, but what it really builds is tension, a wall between you and peace. Take a slow breath. Now unclench your hands. Feel the release. That's what letting go feels like inside. A soft, quiet surrender, not of weakness, but of wisdom. When you let go, you don't lose control, you lose anxiety. You stop resisting what already is, and in that acceptance, space opens. Space for joy, for peace, for life to breathe through you. Every desire to control comes from fear. Fear that if you don't hold on, everything will fall apart. But can you see how that fear is the very thing that keeps you from living freely? The Buddha said that suffering arises from attachment, not because things are bad, but because we can't stop clinging to them. People change, seasons turn, plans collapse. Yet underneath it all, there's something unchanging: awareness itself. That is where peace hides. Ask yourself softly, what are you gripping that no longer serves you? How much of your pain is control disguised as care? Can you allow life to unfold without interference? These are not questions for the mind to answer. They are invitations for the heart to release. So, practice the art of loosening your grip. Let each breath remind you that peace cannot be forced. It must be allowed. Because when you stop trying to control the river, you finally learn to float. And in that effortless stillness, you discover you were never meant to steer the flow of life, only to trust it. 4. Detachment is the highest form of love. Can you care deeply without clinging tightly? Most people believe love means holding on, protecting, keeping close. But attachment, though it feels like love, is often fear in disguise. Fear of loss, fear of being alone, fear of change. The Buddha taught that true love is born from freedom, not possession. To love without attachment is to love without fear. It is to see beauty and allow it to exist without demanding it to stay. Imagine the sun. It shines on all, the kind and the cruel, the near and the distant. Yet it never clings to anyone. It gives warmth freely and asks for nothing in return. That is the nature of detached love. Radiant, unconditional, vast. It doesn't burn itself out trying to be everything for someone. It simply shines, and in its light, life blossoms. To love like this is to understand that love is not ownership. It is presence. It is being fully there for another soul, without the need to shape them or bind them. Close your eyes for a moment. Visualize sending love like light from your heart outward. Watch it travel to those you care about, to those who've hurt you, even to the parts of yourself you struggle to accept. Do not hold it back and do not expect it to return. Just let it move freely, endlessly. That is what pure love feels like. No weight, no fear, no demand. When attachment governs love, pain becomes inevitable. You begin to measure affection through reciprocation, loyalty, or presence. But when you release attachment, love transforms into compassion, an energy that cannot be broken by distance or time. You love not because you need, but because you are love itself. You become like a calm ocean, reflecting everything, clinging to nothing. Ask yourself, are my attachments rooted in love or fear? Who would I be without the need to possess? Can I give without needing control? These questions invite you to step beyond emotional dependency and into spiritual maturity. To love with detachment is not to be cold or distant. It is to be boundless. It is the realization that the more you hold, the less you feel. But the more you release, the more peace you find. So let your love flow like sunlight, gentle, giving, fearless. Because in the end, detachment isn't the absence of love. It is its purest, most powerful form. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "My mind is my temple." 5. Silence is not emptiness, it's fullness. Why do we fear silence, when silence is where truth whispers? The world teaches you to fill every moment with sound, with thought, with movement. Yet the Buddha reminded us, in the quiet heart, even the loudest storm bows down. Silence is not emptiness. It is fullness, a vast space where clarity and peace are born. In the absence of noise, the soul finally speaks. Imagine your life as a song. The notes are important, but what makes the melody beautiful are the pauses between them. Between each heartbeat lies a still moment, the same stillness that holds galaxies in balance. That quiet space within you is not nothing. It is everything. It is awareness itself. But we fear it because silence reveals what distraction hides: our pain, our truth, our longing for meaning. Yet when you dare to sit in that stillness, you discover it is not a void, but a mirror. Close your eyes now. Sit in silence for 1 minute. At first, the mind will resist. Thoughts will rush in, noise will grow louder, emotions will stir. But if you wait, if you breathe gently through the chaos, you will feel something shift. The silence begins to breathe with you. It is alive, it holds you, it comforts you. In that moment, you are no longer separate from life. You become part of its rhythm, steady and unshakable. This is why monks seek silence, not to escape the world, but to understand it more deeply. In silence, wisdom flowers. You begin to see that the mind doesn't need to be filled, it needs to be freed. You learn to listen, not just to words, but to the subtle truths that can only be heard in stillness. Silence is where insight is born, where wounds begin to heal, and where peace becomes real. Ask yourself, what do you hear in silence that you ignore in noise? Can silence become your refuge instead of your discomfort? How often do you meet yourself in stillness? The answers are waiting, not in sound, but in space. So, practice sitting in that sacred pause. Let the world be noisy, but let your heart be quiet. Because when you find peace in silence, no storm can shake you. Remember, it is not the noise outside that disturbs you, but the noise within. When that quiets, you realize the truth. Silence is not emptiness. It is the fullness of being. 6. Turn inner noise into inner space. What if your thoughts aren't the problem, but the space between them is? Most people believe peace comes when the mind stops thinking. But in truth, peace arrives when there's space between thoughts, when awareness becomes wider than the noise inside. The Buddha said, "A crowded mind cannot breathe peace." Just as a cluttered room suffocates the soul, an overfilled mind suffocates the heart. The mind's chatter isn't your enemy. It's simply asking for room to rest. Imagine your mind as a small room. Over the years, you filled it with memories, fears, expectations, and worries, until there's barely any space left to move. Every anxious thought becomes another piece of furniture blocking your path. You try to find peace, but you keep tripping over the clutter of what-ifs and should-haves. The first step is not to escape the room. It's to clear it. Now, visualize yourself sweeping your mind clean, one anxious thought at a time. With each slow breath, you lift away a piece of mental dust. You don't fight your thoughts, you simply release them. Feel the air return, the space expand. That gentle spaciousness you sense, that's peace. It was never lost, it was just buried under too much thinking. When the mind is cluttered, every sound feels louder, every problem feels heavier. But as space opens, the same world begins to soften. You respond slower, see clearer, love deeper. You stop reacting from chaos and start acting from clarity. This is the quiet revolution of awareness, turning inner noise into inner space. The art of mental decluttering is not about controlling thought, it's about letting go of unnecessary ones. Not every idea deserves your attention. Not every memory deserves to stay. Ask yourself, what occupies your mental home unnecessarily? Which thoughts do you need to evict to feel light again? How much space would peace need to move in? Practice this daily. Sit in stillness, breathe, and when a thought arises, imagine opening a window and letting it drift away. You'll start to see that your thoughts are like guests. Some bring light, others bring dust. Your power lies in choosing who stays. The less you carry, the more you feel. The quieter you become, the larger your world grows. Remember, peace doesn't enter a crowded room. So make space within, and you'll find that silence is not empty. It's the room where your soul can finally breathe. 7. When you stop reacting, you start ruling. What gives true power, reaction, or restraint? The world often tells you that power is control, dominance, or the ability to win every argument. But in truth, the greatest power is calmness. The Buddha taught that anger and reaction are like flames that burn the one who holds them first. The calmest one in the room holds the real authority. When you no longer allow the outer world to command your inner state, you begin to rule from within. Imagine the ocean. It doesn't chase each wave, nor does it try to stop them. The waves rise, crash, and disappear, yet the ocean remains still at its depth. This is the way of a trained mind. Life will send you waves, criticism, chaos, loss, temptation. But none of these have the power to disturb you unless you choose to react. True strength is not the ability to strike back. It is the wisdom to stand still. Visualize yourself standing at the edge of the sea. A wave approaches, it's anger. Another comes, it's judgment. Another, fear. Watch them rise, watch them fall. You are not the wave, you are the shore. The waves will always move, but the shore never leaves its place. That's what mastery of the mind feels like, responding with awareness instead of reacting from impulse. When you react, you surrender your peace to the external. You become like a puppet pulled by every emotion and circumstance. But when you pause, breathe, and remain still, something beautiful happens. You see clearly. Between the trigger and your response, there is a sacred space, and in that space lies your freedom. It's where wisdom speaks, where peace chooses action, not emotion. Ask yourself, who or what pulls your peace out of you? What happens if you simply choose not to respond? Is calmness your greatest form of power? Sit with these questions, because the moment you stop reacting, you reclaim your strength. The calm mind is not indifferent. It's deliberate. It knows that not every battle deserves a response. Not every situation needs a storm. It acts when action is needed, and rests when silence is wiser. So train your mind to be like the ocean, vast, deep, and steady. Let the waves crash if they must, but remain unmoved inside. Because peace is not found by controlling the sea of life. It's found by remembering that you are not the waves, you are the water itself. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "My mind is my temple." 8. Pain is not the enemy. Resistance is. What if pain's purpose isn't to break you, but to wake you? Most people spend their lives running from discomfort, hiding behind distraction, denial, or control. Yet Buddhism teaches that pain itself is not the enemy. Resistance is. The Buddha said, "Suffering ends when resistance ends." When you stop pushing pain away, you stop feeding it. What hurts you most isn't the wound itself. It's your unwillingness to let it breathe. Imagine a fire. If you stand apart and fight it, it burns you. But if you become the flame, if you step into its light with awareness, it no longer consumes you. Fire doesn't burn the one who becomes the flame. Pain is like that. It's raw energy, waiting to transform into wisdom. When you resist it, it becomes suffering. When you embrace it, it becomes insight. Breathe now, gently. Instead of escaping the place that hurts, breathe into it. Feel its edges soften. Observe how your body loosens when you stop running. That quiet surrender, that's not weakness, it's awakening. Pain loses its sting when you meet it with openness. It teaches you patience, humility, compassion. Qualities that only emerge in stillness, not in struggle. Every hardship has a hidden teaching, but resistance blinds you to it. You think you're protecting yourself by avoiding pain, but in truth, you're closing the door to growth. Pain purifies the heart the way fire purifies gold, not to destroy, but to refine. The ones who walk through their pain consciously become unshakable because they've discovered peace, not by escaping life's storms, but by finding stillness within them. Ask yourself, what pain am I resisting most right now? What is it trying to teach me? Could peace be waiting on the other side of acceptance? These are not easy questions, but they lead you toward freedom. Pain comes to all, but suffering is optional. The more you fight what is, the heavier life feels. But when you bow to it, when you say, yes, this too belongs, a miracle unfolds. The heart expands, the mind quiets, the flame that once burned begins to warm. So, the next time pain visits, don't shut the door. Sit with it like an old friend. Listen, learn. Let it pass through you, not define you. Because in the end, pain isn't here to destroy your peace. It's here to reveal the strength that was peaceful all along. 9. The mind is like water. It reflects when still. Why can't you see clearly when emotions overflow? Because the mind, like water, loses its reflection when disturbed. The Buddha said, "A still mind reveals what a restless mind distorts." Every thought, every reaction, every burst of emotion sends ripples across the surface of your awareness. When the waves are constant, you mistake distortion for truth. But when the water grows still, what was hidden becomes visible. Wisdom, clarity, peace. Imagine standing beside a quiet pond. Look into it. When the wind blows, the surface trembles, breaking the image it holds. But when the air becomes calm, the pond reflects the stars perfectly. The same happens within you. Only when your inner waters are still can you see the reflection of who you truly are. That stillness is not something you must find. It's something you must uncover beneath the storms of the mind. Visualize your thoughts as ripples upon that pond. Each worry, each regret, each desire, another small movement disturbing the surface. Now breathe deeply and let them settle. With every breath, the ripples soften. The mind becomes clearer. The reflection of your true self begins to emerge, quiet, luminous, untouched by passing waves. This is the power of awareness. You don't fight the water. You let it return to its natural calm. When emotions rise, we rush to react, to decide, to fix. But decisions made in turbulence only deepen confusion. Wisdom waits for the water to still. So, the next time anger, fear, or sorrow arises, pause. Don't dive into the current, watch from the shore. Wait until the ripples fade, then act from clarity, not chaos. This is how peace becomes your strength, through patience, not pressure. Ask yourself gently, what distorts my inner reflection most often? Can I wait until the ripples fade before deciding? How can stillness become my daily practice? These questions lead you inward, to the quiet where truth lives. Practice daily stillness, a few moments of silence before dawn, a pause before reacting, a breath before speaking. These small acts polish the mirror of your mind. Slowly, you begin to see life as it truly is, not through the waves of emotion, but through the calm beneath them. Remember, peace doesn't mean a life without movement. Even the calmest pond feels the breeze. But a trained mind, like still water, knows how to return to clarity after every ripple. When you master that, you no longer chase peace. You reflect it. 10. The power of inner anchoring. What holds you when life pulls you in every direction? The storms of emotion, the noise of the world, the weight of expectation. They swirl around you like strong winds. And yet, There are some who stand calm amidst it all, unmoved, untouched. The Buddha taught, peace is not the absence of motion, but the presence of grounding. Life will always move. People will change, circumstances will shift, but true peace comes not from still surroundings. It comes from still roots. Imagine a great tree standing in a field. The wind howls, the rain falls, yet the tree does not panic. It bends, but it does not break, because its roots reach deep into the earth. Its strength is unseen, buried beneath. Likewise, your peace depends not on how still life is above the surface, but on how deeply you are rooted within. Close your eyes and feel your feet against the ground. Breathe. Imagine roots extending from you, deep into the soil of awareness. Feel them spreading wide and steady, anchoring you in calm. No matter how chaotic the surface becomes, you remain connected, grounded, safe. This is inner anchoring, the art of being centered in yourself while the world moves around you. Most people live from their branches, reacting to every gust of wind, every passing storm. But peace is found in the roots, not the branches. When you live from your roots, your values, your stillness, your truth, you stop being pulled by every emotional tide. You move from reaction to response, from chaos to clarity. Ask yourself gently, what keeps me grounded when life shakes me? Do I live from my roots or from my reactions? How deep does my peace go? When you begin to answer these questions with honesty, you'll notice the same winds that once terrified you now teach you balance. The practice is simple. When tension rises, pause and breathe into your feet. When confusion spreads, return to silence. When fear arrives, remind yourself, you have roots. You are not drifting. You are grounded in presence. Just like the tree, you may sway, but you will not fall. The world outside will always move, but when your roots are deep, even the storm becomes your teacher. Train your mind to stay anchored in the soil of awareness. And no matter how messy life gets, your peace will stand tall, unshaken, and alive. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "My mind is my temple." 11. Equanimity, the stillness beyond judgment. Can you see both joy and sorrow without labeling either as good or bad? This is the quiet art of equanimity, the stillness that remains untouched by praise or blame, by gain or loss. The Buddha said, "Peace is born the moment you stop judging what happens." Most people believe that peace is found in perfect circumstances, but true peace is born when you no longer divide life into what should be and what shouldn't. Imagine a mirror. It reflects everything, the sunrise and the storm, the smile and the tear. Yet it clings to nothing, rejects nothing. It does not say, "This reflection is beautiful, that one is ugly." It simply allows what is. You too can become that mirror. When your mind learns to reflect life without preference, you step beyond the exhausting chase of labeling and comparing. Visualize yourself as that mirror, calm, still, unshaken. Thoughts appear like clouds passing through your reflection. Emotions ripple across the surface, yet the clarity beneath remains untouched. This is the space where wisdom lives, not in constant reaction, but in silent observation. So much of your suffering comes not from what happens, but from what you call it. You name an event as failure, and it becomes heavy. You name it lesson, and suddenly it becomes light. The world doesn't change, only your judgment does. When you stop judging every experience, you begin to meet reality as it is, not as your mind wants it to be. Ask yourself, what would happen if I stopped judging my emotions? How much energy does judgment steal from me each day? Can I rest in acceptance instead of opinion? When you reflect on these, you'll notice that judgment is just another form of control, a way the ego tries to shape the moment instead of surrendering to it. Equanimity is not indifference, it's not coldness. It is the warmth of complete acceptance, of allowing life to be free. When you no longer resist joy or push away sorrow, both lose their power to disturb you. You become like a rock in the river. Water flows around you, but cannot move your essence. In this balance, you discover a peace that doesn't depend on anything. A peace that remains whether life blesses you or tests you. Train your mind to see without labeling, to feel without judging, and you'll find that peace isn't something you chase. It's something that rises naturally when you stop dividing the world. Bonus lesson: the rock within you. What happens when nothing can disturb you anymore? When the noise of the world rises, but inside there is only stillness. This is the power of the rock within you. The part of your being that does not tremble when life storms, that does not vanish when things fall apart. The Buddha said, "Be like the rock, unmoved, not because you're cold, but because you're complete." True peace is not escape. It is endurance born from understanding. Imagine a great mountain. Winds strike it, rain drenches it, lightning scars its surface. Yet it remains silent, vast, unbroken. The mountain does not fight the storm. It lets the clouds come and go, the seasons change, and still it stands. You too have that mountain within you. The part untouched by change, beyond success or failure, joy or sorrow. Close your eyes for a moment and feel that rock inside you. Beneath the moving thoughts, beneath the flickering emotions, there is something still, steady as earth, quiet as eternity. That is your true nature. Every time you return to it, chaos loses its power. Fear softens, pain finds its meaning. You remember that you are not the storm. You are the sky it passes through. Life will always bring movement. People will change, plans will collapse, expectations will crumble. But your peace does not have to fall with them. The secret is not in avoiding the mess, but standing unmoved in the middle of it. When you realize you do not need control to be calm, you discover a strength that no circumstance can steal. Ask yourself, who are you when nothing can shake you? What would peace look like if it no longer depended on circumstances? Can you live each day as the mountain, calm, grounded, eternal? These questions are not to be answered with words, but with silence, through the way you live, breathe, and meet each moment. When you train your mind to stay rooted like a rock, storms stop being threats and become teachers. You no longer react, you respond. You no longer escape, you endure with grace. The outer world may tremble, but within there is stillness, ancient, unbreakable, and free. That is where true peace lives. Be like the rock, unmoved, not because you're cold, but because you finally remembered who you are. Quick summary of the principles. The battle you're fighting is inside you. The real source of conflict isn't in the outside world, but within your own mind. When you stop reacting to life's challenges and begin observing your inner resistance, peace naturally arises. Mastering your inner world ends most of your outer struggles. The art of watching without absorbing. Peace begins when you stop identifying with every thought and emotion that passes through you. By watching your emotions instead of becoming them, you discover your inner freedom, untouched and unshaken by the noise around you. Let go of the need to control everything. Trying to control everything only deepens suffering. True peace comes from surrender, from allowing life to move as it will, while you remain steady within yourself. The less you grip, the more gracefully life flows. Detachment is the highest form of love. Detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. It allows you to love deeply without clinging or fearing loss. When you stop confusing attachment with love, compassion becomes limitless and peace becomes your nature. Silence is not emptiness, it's fullness. Silence is where understanding and truth are born. It's not the absence of sound, but the presence of awareness. When you rest in silence, your heart starts hearing what the world often hides. Turn inner noise into inner space. Your mind becomes peaceful, not by silencing every thought, but by creating space between them. As you release mental clutter, awareness expands, and peace finds room to breathe within you. When you stop reacting, you start ruling. Reaction is weakness, calm response is mastery. When you remain composed in the face of provocation, you reclaim your power. The calmest person always holds the highest ground. Pain is not the enemy. Resistance is. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. The moment you stop resisting your emotions, they lose their sting. Acceptance turns pain into wisdom and struggle into strength. The mind is like water, it reflects when still. When emotions stir, perception distorts. As the mind becomes still, clarity returns, and you begin to see truth as it is. Inner stillness reveals insight that constant motion hides. The power of inner anchoring. Peace comes from being grounded in something deeper than circumstances. When you live from your center, external chaos can no longer control you. True strength is inner stability, not outer dominance. Equanimity, the stillness beyond judgment. Peace is found beyond the labels of good or bad. When you stop judging life, every experience becomes your teacher. Acceptance replaces reaction, and balance replaces struggle. The rock within you. The ultimate mastery is to be unshakable, not because nothing happens, but because nothing disturbs your center. When you anchor your peace within, you become the calm eye of every storm. Peace isn't found in avoiding life's chaos. It's discovered in your ability to remain still within it. The storms will come, emotions will rise, and situations will test you. But when your mind becomes trained, when your awareness no longer dances with every disturbance, life can no longer control you. The Buddha taught that true strength is calmness, not resistance, for it's only in stillness that wisdom speaks. Let this be your practice, to stay peaceful like a rock, even when life grows wild around you. To see with clarity, act with compassion, and remain steady when the world trembles. Remember, the one who has conquered their mind is greater than the one who conquers 1,000 men in battle. If this message touched your heart, take a moment to breathe in peace. Like and share this video. Share your reflections in the comments below.